Good day, ladies and gentlemen. In today's build, let's build a vehicle. So we're going to start off with the platform. So let's build a platform with some stairs and some floor beams so that we can actually place the dynamic foundations, the base of the vehicle, on top of them, so it will be much easier for us to work with it and less glitchy. And it will keep it in place so that we can actually build the entire thing on top of it. So next, let's place dynamic foundations. We'll go for a medium-sized build. So we're going to place 2 dynamic foundations down. Be careful not to actually knock the foundations accidentally off the platform. And we're going to go with the rustic railing for the engine components for the thrusters. I'm going to place them a little bit backward from the edge of the dynamic foundation, just so that it's got a little bit of a buffer, a little bit of a bumper, if you would, in case we actually hit any objects while driving. It can offer a little bit of protection to the vehicle. So those housings are now in place, and I'm going to place a floor beam across so that we can build the engine components on top of it so that they fall nicely in place. Notice I left a 1 block space for the engine components. You can build a snug build, but then you're going to be looking at actually negotiating blocks into place. And I'm going for an easy build here, so I don't want to do that. So I left a little bit of space so that the blocks can fall in place nicely. And we're going to make sure that they stay in place by actually putting a cover on top of them. So that will work nicely. So we'll place another block on top of this floor piece and another one on where they meet in the center. A little bit off center, but that's fine. They're going to be knocked out anyway. And let's place thrusters. I want this thing to move quite fast, so we're actually building this with a reverse thruster. It's actually nice to have your vehicles have a reverse thruster because you don't want to be climbing out, pushing it backwards when you make a mistake, when you drive like how I drive. And let's place the other turning thruster on this side. Oh, I ran out of material. Okay, I'm back now. I've got more material. So I wouldn't say that this is a cheap build, but we've all been playing Lego Fortnite for a while, so we should have a lot of building material. Also now you actually get your building material back when you break up objects, so I don't think we need to be too thrifty with the builds anymore. So we'll place a switch in the front here so that we can cover the engine components completely with the floor piece that we're going to place on the top. We'll just place the switches in a manner that we can reach them easily. Great stuff. So I think we can actually drop the engine components now. We'll knock out the floors. And because of the way I placed the back railing, they just fall nicely in place. Perfect. No negotiating of pieces. Engine components fell nicely in place. Great stuff. So now we can cover it up. So we'll just use a floor piece that can cover it up nice and snugly. So as you can see with this build, you actually can't really make mistakes using these components. Now this is just like your general idea of how to place the engine components and the switches. So you can play around with your own design. Like I did make an error over here. So we're going to place a piece so that it helps the character from falling out, because on vehicles your character falls out easily. It's not like a ship that moves a little bit more predictably. A vehicle is a little bit unpredictable because it does move around on the ground and it is subject to moving as smooth as the ground it's traveling on. So let's place the thrusters in the back. I would have actually liked to place them a little bit higher, but this is fine. You can place them on the railing so that it uses the dynamic foundation as sort of a buffer in case you hit something, but that's fine. 3 thrusters is gonna move pretty fast. Alright, so we need a switch for the back thrusters. I'm going to put it a little bit to the left so that I can reach the reverse thruster. That should be perfect. And the other switch glitched in place. Okay, but we're not going to worry about that now. Let's complete the build. So wheels. Let's go for large wheels because we are in the desert biome, and maybe in the grasslands you can get away with small wheels, but why would you build a vehicle with small wheels? So we're going to go for the larger wheels. Place them around there, just so that they're out of the way of the turning thruster. And we need to place them level on the other side. You can actually experiment, maybe put a few balloons on the vehicle to make it a bit lighter if you want to. You know, there are some advantages to doing that because it will turn faster. It may even drive a little bit faster. But when they bust up, then you've got a risk of your parts floating away. So I'm not putting balloons on this build for that reason. For when it busts up, I don't want to be chasing. As you can see there in the distance, I've got some objects, some satellites floating around from my previous builds. And yeah, I don't want to unnecessarily do that anymore. Okay, so this vehicle's pretty much complete. Okay, so the right thruster switch actually glitched over to the left side, but that's fine. We can still reach it easily. So let's just thrust off the platform. I'm feeling a bit lazy today. That's why I put big wheels on the thing. So as you can see, it's pretty quick. Moves quite nice. And we can stop. We use that front thruster for reverse and also to help with the braking, so that we don't accidentally drive into objects that we don't plan to. And by placing an individual thruster for turning and not actually creating a thruster that goes forward and back, we can actually turn on a dime. So that helps you to maybe aim the vehicle and then drive it in a certain direction to avoid bumping into objects. But I want to show you guys why I placed that front railing a little bit more to the back of the dynamic foundation. So let's test it out now. So I'm going to ram the hill. So normally that would bust up your vehicle, but let's just have a look. So as you can see, there's no damage to the thruster, so that helps out a little bit. So you can consider putting that in your own builds. And I suppose there's a number of things, like this is a basic build just for us to be able to drive around in the Lego world. But I think we should actually look at protecting the vehicles and the parts in future builds. And I think that will be my priority in my next vehicle build. Try and make something that's a little bit more stronger. So let's test it for farming. Driving over small trees can be used for that. And there's a roller. Oh dear, I woke him up. Okay, so he's going to attack me, but let's attack him first. Test out the vehicle against rollers, and as you can see, the rollers tend to win. Oh dear, I'm not gonna let him get away with that. Okay, let's go and bust him up for busting up my vehicle. You little bugger. I gotta build a new vehicle. That's what you get for busting up Argent Cleo's vehicle. So alright, you could fix that. You know, then you wouldn't have to place dynamic foundations down again. But let's bust it up and use the parts to build something else. If you guys would like to check out a few of my other builds, you may want to click on these videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.